Did you guys think I was going to upload that Pantera Walk solo cover earlier this week and not give you guys a lesson on how to play it?
No way, punk.
Hey there guys, and welcome to this week's installment of your favorite guitar lesson series in the known multiverse, Weekend Wankshop. Here's your best buddy, Uncle Ben. Dimebag's solo on the Pantera classic Walk is one of his best in the entire Pantera catalog because it's covered in so many of his trademark isms, like his blues scale playing, all those sexy bends and vibrato, the crazy, fake delay thing in there, and a couple little whammy bar tricks in there as well. So if you're gonna learn a Pantera solo, this is a pretty damn good one to work on. Okay, first things first, I gotta mention the tuning. I see a lot of times people playing Walk in like a drop tuning, and it's not. It's down one whole step and then down another quarter step. So the best way to do that is to use like an electronic tuner that you can calibrate to like 430 hertz, and then tune your guitar low to high DGC FAD. That additional quarter step of flatness is something that Dimebag did all the time. For this week's lesson though, I'm not down the quarter step. I'm in just regular DGC FAD tuning, 440 hertz. I figured that would be a lot easier because I don't think everybody has like the Floyd Rose equipped guitar that's down a whole step, then down another quarter step below that. So just for the ease of the lesson, I'm just in regular old whole step down tuning. But if you want to match the record, tune down a little more. But before we start tackling these tasty licks, let's hear it again at step dime speed. And as always, you guys can find a full tab for this week's lesson over on my Instagram page at Ben Eller Guitars. Be sure to find the tab for this week's lesson, give me a follow over there, then learn how to play this solo and upload a video of yourself shredding through it, along with the hashtag Weekend Wankshop. So whenever you're playing this solo, be sure to use plenty of distortion and your neck pickup so you can get that fat, juicy tone like Dime had on the original recording. We're going to be starting off here on the 14th G and the 15th B, and I'm going to strike both those notes and then slowly bend the G string up a whole step like this. Now, one thing to be aware of is whenever you're playing a guitar with a Floyd Rose tremolo, like mine and like Dime's, then whenever you start bending that G string up, it's going to make the B string go flat. Because anytime you bend a string with a Floyd Rose tremolo, the whole thing pitches forward. So that means everything is going flat. Now, it sounds on the original like Dime's doesn't go as flat as, say, mine does whenever I do that bend. Like you can hear by the time I get up to that top bend right there, the B string is down almost a half step, right? In order to make it sound more like his, what I did myself is to kind of counterbalance that by pushing back against the tremolo a little bit. So in other words, the tremolo is wanting to pitch forward. Well, my hand is back there kind of holding it in place so that it doesn't pitch forward as much as it should. Again, that made it sound more like his. I don't know if he was doing that or not. If he had more tremolo springs and heavier strings than I did, then maybe his wasn't doing that as badly. But for myself, that's what I did to make that first bend sound right. After this, we're going to do a little string rake here, just using the muted strings off of the bass strings here off the side of my hand. I've got to play that 15th fret B string and give it a whole step bend. Then we enter into the first really fast lick of the solo here. Now this is going to start off here on the B string 12, G string 15, go back to that B string 12, and after that we kind of start this rotating lick that goes around a few times. What we're going to do is to play the G15, pull off to 14, pull off to 12, and then hammer back up on the way. So hammer on 14, hammer on 15. Skip to 12 high E. B string here, you're going to play 15 pulling to 12. And then basically the lick starts over. So you're going to play the 15th G pulling to 14, pulling to 12. Hammer back on 14 and 15. Back to 12 high E. B string here, 15 and 12. Again, that's a pull off right there. And then just descend down the G this time. 15, 14, 12. So again, I kind of think of this as the lead up, and then a couple laps around that lick. Ending on the 12th fret G right there. After this, you're going to play the 14th fret high E string, and it gives it about a half step bend. And then you get this stuff. Now this is a really cool kind of ism of Dime's too, because essentially this is in E minor, right? But he's using the major third in there instead of the minor third. He's using the major third. This is kind of one of those like blues things that sounds kind of happy, so most metal guys won't touch it with a 10-foot pole, but Dime makes it sound so sweet whenever he does this. So this is definitely a trademark of his. So after you do that bend, you're going to play the 12 high E, 14 high E, 15 B with a whole step bend, and then after this you're going to play 12 and 16 on the high E, bend that 15th B a whole step again, 12th high E, and then one more bend on that 15th B. A lot of bends going by in that. Play that phrase again. So that's so far you should have. So next up we get this phrase. Again, ending on that major third. That's just kind of an ism that he does this whole time. And what you're going to do is to play the 12 on the high E, 16 on the high E, pulling back off to 12, 15 B, 12 high E, and then you're going to play that 16 pulling to 12 2 times in a row. So it's like this. 15 B, 12 high E, and then you're going to do a double pull off on the B. So we're going to play the 15 on the B pulling to 12, and then again. 15th G, 12th B, and then we're going to walk down the G right here. We're going to play 15, 14, pull to 12, 14 G, or sorry, 14 D, my mistake. 14 G, back to 14 D, so a little roll of the ring finger. Play the lick again. And then you're going to play the 12 on the G, hammering to 13. Again, that lick is pretty confusing and it goes by really quick. That's going to be followed up with. Now this is the 12 on the G, hammering to 13, pulling back off to 12, so kind of dabbling with minor third, major third, minor third right there. 14 D, 12 G, hammering to 13. And at this point, I mean, it almost just damn near sounds like a whole step bend that he's doing, but it's just that his vibrato is gigantic. And then you gotta play the 12 on the G, hammer to 13, hit it some more of that huge vibrato. And then the last one he does right here, what he's gonna do is to play the 12 on the G, hammering to 13, and take it up on a slow bend that's up about a whole step. And you can see what I did right there is after I reached about the whole step point with the bend, I started bringing the bar back. So it raises it up to about 2 whole steps. You know, it should end up sounding about like, well, more like 1.5 steps, you know, about like this B note right here. And what you can do is while you're holding the bend up with the left hand and pulling the bar back with the right hand, again, I'm just yanking the bar backwards. You could do it this way too. But while you're holding the bar back, you want to do vibrato with the left hand. You could also do the vibrato with the bar, either way. And the thing about that phrase is it's very arrhythmic. So whenever you're coming off that, the timing is really all over the map, so listen closely to the original and try to hop on his rhythms. After that, we're going to have this bluesy phrase that starts off with sliding up into your 17th fret B string, 15th high E, 17th high E, 18 high E, and then you got to play the 19 high E and give it a 1.5 step bend. And notice with those, I didn't just let the notes really flow into each other. Like, the notes sound very clipped off, and that sounds like he's doing the old, you know, the pick muting kind of thing, where you just kind of play a note and then jam your pick up against the string, push it through for the next note, jam it up, push it through for the next note, jam it, and so on. You can always tell because the notes get that really nice chirp on top whenever he does that, so keep that in mind too. So the next section of the solo moves to kind of more of an A tone center, well, you know, G, really, since we're tuned down a whole step, but you gotta know what the hell I mean. And he plays against this very much like a blues player would, where now it almost seems like he's imagining himself playing over an A7 or, you know, an A blues kind of thing. And this section right here starts off by playing the G and B on 5. You gotta strike both of those and slowly bend them up about a half step. Because you're using one finger, it's not gonna be a perfect half step bend, but that's okay. On the D here, I just played 7, 5, 7 before it moves into this lick, which I love. This is the 8 on the high E, hammering to 9, pulling back off to 8, pulling to 5. And then you're gonna think about moving like those 2 fingers down a half step onto the next string. We're gonna do the B here, 7, hammering to 8, pulling off to 7, pulling up to 5. And then on the G here, again, the little half step shape you've got moves down another set of frets. I'm gonna use these 2 fingers though. So this is the 6 hammering to 7, then going back to 6. So that lick is, this leads to, so this is me playing a little bit of a rake again. This solo is kind of full of those rakes. I probably already missed a couple of them. So you're gonna rake into that 7th G here and bend it up a whole step. Play the 7th G again with the whole step. Let it down, play the 5. So notice the first bend only goes up. It doesn't go up and down. So coming off of that lick, you're gonna be holding down the 5 on the G, right? What you're gonna do is while you're holding that note out and sustaining it and giving it some vibrato, sneak over here with your picking hand and fret the 2nd fret on the G. This means that you can then do a pull off from that 5 to that 2 that you're holding down with your picking hand. Now you can do it with your middle finger, that way you can hold onto the pick with your first and thumb like a lot of people do. A lot of times whenever I play this, I end up just kind of stowing the pick in the crook of my middle finger. That's something that I do all the time. That way my first finger is free, but again, either way is totally fine. So what you're gonna do is, again, we're holding down that 5, we're sustaining it, we pass off, slide up as close to an octave as you can. So in other words, slide up to about the 14th fret. Be sure just to keep that finger held down really hard, or else you'll lose it somewhere along the way up there. So 5, pass to 2, slide to 14-ish. If it's not exact, it doesn't matter. Pull back off to your left hand that's already holding the note down on 2. Slide up, pass to the right hand, which is already holding the note down, and then one more. So it's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slides. That's a really cool trick, and I don't think I've ever seen anybody else use that in a solo, but it sounds So damn cool. It almost sounds like a weird like loop pedal, or like a delay that's starting and ending in weird spots. It's really rad. Again, the timing is really funky on that too. It's not just 1, 2, 3, 4, or anything like that. So be sure to listen closely to his really slippery timing that he's got going on there. Now the next lick right here is really dope. What I'm doing is I'm sliding into the 8th fret G. I'm sorry, 9th fret G. I'm starting on 8, sliding to 9. You know damn well what I mean. So you're gonna hit the 8, slide to 9, hit the 10B, play 9, slide to 8 on the G, play the 10th B again, and repeat. And then the last time through here you're gonna play, so that was the 8 on the G sliding to 9, 10 on the B, 9 on the G, 10 on the B, 9 on the G. So now you have this, and the different one. And what you're gonna do right there is hit that 10 on the B and bend it up. Honestly, it's kind of indeterminate. It's around 1.5 steps, but his vibrato is so huge, it's really hard to say. It's hard to say if it's up a whole step and then with big half step vibrato, or if it's just up 1.5 with big vibrato. Honestly, what matters more than anything is that that thing goes up and that it's moving. I don't even think it's really necessarily super in tune. Just goes to show you what attitude can deliver to a solo. Even the notes can be damn out of tune, and it just sounds ridiculously good. And then the last lick that you play here kind of walks up, kind of a diminished 7 arpeggio. And what we're going to do here is to start off by playing around the 6 on the B. If it's not exactly 6, it's not the end of the world. But slide into the 9 on the B, 10 on the high E, go back to that 9 on the B and slide up 3 frets to the 12th, 13th high E, go back to that 12th B, slide up 3 frets to 15, 16 high E, back to your 15th B, slide up 3 frets to 18, 19 high E, then you're going to go back to that 18 on the B, slide up 3 frets to fret number 21. So now you got this. And then you got to play 22 on the high E, 21 on the B, 22 on the high E, 21 on the B. And then this last bend he does is going to be the 22nd high E string bent up 1.5 steps. So here's the deal. Whenever you start bending up that high, you're bound to start catching the B string under your finger too, right? I kind of think of it as the that thing they used to have on the front of trains, the cow pusher. You know what I mean? Your finger's kind of like the cow pusher. It just goes up and it goes ahead and hits the next couple strings as well. Now that B string, unless you play with like crazy high action, is gonna end up underneath your fretting finger right there. It's just going to happen. And this is one of those like Stevie Ray Vaughan isms too that I'm sure a Texas dude like Dime was really aware of. Stevie would do these kinds of bends all the time where he'd take just the high E string up and on the way up snag that B string and then just be like, well hell, while I'm holding it down I'll hit both of them and let them both down. The B string will be like super out of tune, especially on a Floyd Rose, but that's what makes it scream, so it's really dope. So hit the 22 on the high E string, bend it up 1.5 steps. You got the B string under there too now, so hit them both and just dive the bar out of it. So in other words, at the top of that bend, I just mashed that bar and dive bombed it. To make it less noisy, it's not a bad idea to have your first finger just kind of blotting the other strings out. Like what I did right there. It's not a bad idea. Or be sure to use the butt of your hand, again, over here muting out those low strings. That way you don't get any of those talking at you. And that is the entire solo. So it starts off with your bluesy bend, in my case, a little back pressure on the tremolo. Repeating lick. Major third double pull off lick. Random bends. Tremolo bend. Bluesy chirp pick thing. Bluesy stuff in A. Fake delay. and your diminished thing. And there you go. That's all you need to do to play one of the most badass solos in heavy metal history. You know, it's kind of weird. I've been doing Weekend Wankshop for almost 200 weeks in a row now, and I've not really done that much Pantera stuff. And to be completely honest, I would say of all the big classic heavy metal bands like Megadeth, Metallica, and stuff like that, I'm actually probably the most deficient in Pantera stuff, partially because everything's always tuned down a quarter step, and I never have a guitar around in that tuning. So it's one of those deals where I think I avoided learning a lot of their stuff just because I knew it was like, oh, I gotta set up my guitar for this special tuning just so I can play those songs. But these days, what I usually end up doing is to take, like what I did with this song to transcribe it, I took the MP3 of Walk, I put it into Logic on my Mac back there. I used the pitch shift feature to tune it up a quarter step so that it's actually in tune. And then I don't have to set a guitar up for that specific down a quarter step tuning. Makes life a lot easier. You can also do that if you have an app like the Amazing Slow Downer, which is a really great app that a lot of people use. Check that out if you haven't already. Makes learning the Pantera stuff a lot easier because you don't have to tune to it, so it's pretty cool. I'm sure that I'll be doing more Pantera stuff on my channel in the future, so be sure to let me know in the comments below what you guys would like to see featured next. Anything that you guys have seen a lot of bad lessons for, or have just never seen a tab for that sounded right, let me know in the comments below and I'll attack that thing like a son of a bitch. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Y'all can follow me on Instagram at Ben Eller Guitars or over on my Facebook fan page at facebook.com/Uncle Ben Eller. And if you're interested in booking some one-on-one Skype lessons with me, be sure to drop me an email, benellerguitars@gmail.com. I'll get back to you as fast as I can. I stay super busy, so please be sure to give me a little while to respond to you and book up a lesson. Thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week with another dope lesson. Now get away from this doggone internet machine and go play your guitar.
Less clicking, more picking.